I'm Terri Murphy for the Women's Wisdom Network and the senior editor for Realty Times, Women in Business, Women in Real Estate in the Men's Room with Murph. And today we have a woman that fits almost all the categories except the men, which is great. Nora spent years as a software developer and then left to do what she said would be more meaningful. With no sales or marketing or real estate background, she decided that sellers needed a little bit more help with staging. And so she didn't have what she wanted, so she went ahead and made it herself. I can't wait to introduce you to Miss Nora Crosthwaite. Welcome, Nora.
Thank you, Terry.
So, okay, I mean, really, you don't find what you want, so you just build it yourself, and it's called Stagerie. How did that develop? What was the spark, the launch for Stagerie?
Great question. I became a realtor in 2015 and quickly realized I did not know how to stage houses. And as a realtor, often your sellers say to you, how does this room look? And I would say, gosh, it needs work. Well, what would you do? I don't know. I don't know. So I started looking for in-person stagers that would come in and help and tell them not so much the actually doing the work, but telling them what to do. And quickly ran into a couple of issues. Number one, scheduling. It was hard on my sellers to have to be home for a 2-hour appointment. It was hard to get everybody in the same room. Also, what I found is that in-person sellers can be very defensive. So
you think?
A little bit. Look at my room. It's not staged. This is my office. I would not sell my house this way, right? But a lot of times sellers would say, gosh, but I really love my red paint in my kitchen, or I really love that furniture piece, and I can't believe you don't like it. They would be very defensive. So what would happen is my stagers would back away a little bit from giving advice because they didn't want to upset the seller. I recognize this. So I looked for a service where I said, you know what, I don't need to have somebody in person. Let me find a service where I can take the pictures and send it in, and then they send me the to-do list. And it makes me look good because I'm still getting that feedback for my seller, but the seller doesn't have that really uncomfortable situation. And it didn't exist. It doesn't exist. So that's where Stagery came from. Was I had a personal issue with my business that I wanted to solve. It never occurred to me to build it for everybody until I realized I can't be the only one. I'm not that special.
Well, and she says that, and yet she's a mom. She has done the Des Moines community. You're actually in the Des Moines area. She was a finalist for Inspiring Women of the Iowa Chapter Award in 2021. And this is in the middle of COVID on top of it. Completed the Greater Des Moines, Iowa Community Leadership Program in 2020. So don't tell me about not being special. I mean, we're all special, right, kids? But this one, yeah, she's a little over the top. And you're also a member of the Iowa Association of Realtors Diversity Committee, which I think is really a testament to who you are and what you do. That said, walk us through, because we have stagers, we have a certification for staging, even though that doesn't make you a stager because you're not in it all the time, right?
Not necessarily. We have, just like we have realtors, licensed realtors, and that doesn't necessarily make you a successful realtor, right?
Good
Or
point.
we have certifications for project management professionals. I had one of those too. Doesn't make you a successful project manager. What the business model is I have contracted with stagers all across the country, and they receive projects via email through the website, and they can schedule their work around their schedules. I really want to build something to help independent stagers make the income they want on their terms.
And their expertise. I mean, that's such a great idea.
It's easy for me. When I'm at a listing appointment, I take pictures of the house, and I take like 50 to 80 pictures. It's a lot, where I'm taking as many as I can. I will come home that night. I'll sit on the couch and watch, TV with my daughter and upload the pictures, and I receive the report in 2 days.
Upload the pictures to the website.
Yeah.
And how do you do that? Is it fairly simple?
It's on my cell phone. It's a mobile-enabled website at stagerie.com, and you click on Start a Stagery, and you just go. It sets up, it tells you which rooms. So you upload all your pictures, you go through each picture and assign it to a room. You put in notes. So a lot of times my sellers will have questions. Do I need to replace my countertop, for instance? You can put all those questions in there and submit the project.
So here's what I see. You're right. They get defensive, or, you know, my mom gave that to me, I've got to keep it there, whatever. But when it's an outside independent expert, they can't blame the realtor.
Correct. And we get blamed when inspections come in. So it is urgent and vital for me to maintain that relationship with the client as long as possible.
Well, not only that, but it really does make them part of the authorship. And so, I mean, obviously there would be, you know, all the colors in the spectrum if people didn't choose what they like. And so that doesn't mean that necessarily works. I know it gets a little sticky when a stager comes in and says you have to paint out all this beautiful woodwork, but it's part of the process of getting the property sold. And so not only are you empowering other people with their expertise, you're streamlining the convenience for the seller. You're streamlining the process for you as the agent, and you can ensure that it was suggested, recommended by the stager. And if they don't do it and they're getting that kind of feedback, it's not about you.
Exactly. Most of my sellers will do about 75 to 90% of the suggestions. There are a few where they're like, no, I'm just done. I'm tired. I'm not doing that. We also focus quite a bit on terminology with the stagers. So one term that we do not put in our reports is decluttering, because my items on my wall back there, that's not clutter. Those are my possessions. So don't tell me to declutter. Tell me to pre-pack, and it's a whole new ballgame just by changing that word. We focus on telling people, oh, you have a beautiful room, you get some great sunlight. Let's highlight that by removing your flowered curtains from the 90s.
So carefully. Well, yeah, and you know as well as I do that when you live with something long enough,
you don't see it.
It's just there. It's just there, and fresh eyes pick up something on that. Well, we talk about what's coming next for Stagery. You've got this process. It's nationwide. It's a RE/MAX approved supplier, which is terrific. It's affordable.
Yes.
And really, I don't see a downside to it. Have you had any downsides?
Well, we launched at the beginning of the pandemic last summer.
Great timing.
You know, you would think, but it was also the beginning of the hottest sellers market we've seen in years. So it's been harder to launch in this time period because there are realtors and sellers who just feel like anything will go.
Yeah. Just
put it on the market. It'll sell for 20,000 above list. We'll get 15 offers. Doesn't matter what it looks like. Terry, it's changing. It's changing in Iowa. I've heard reports of it changing in California. The market is shifting. So now that we have stayed on, hung in there, it's always hard to have a technology startup. We are poised to really enable realtors to up their game without a lot of effort.
Well, I think it's a great solution, and especially if you're in an area where it's not heavily, I mean, obviously you're in Des Moines, but you could be in like Bitterroot, Montana and not have a stager available. And so, and again, even if you do take the certification, somebody like me, I have no scale ability. So, you know, you're much better served having a professional do it. So what's next for Stagery? I know that you're way too high energy. It's not a one and done for Miss Nora.
No, we are growing the business. What's next is gaining traction, gaining loyal customers. The RE/MAX approved supplier was a great start, but it is only a start. I am open to working with national brokerages. I do not have an exclusive deal with RE/MAX. I'm also open to working with offices. If there are boutique real estate offices that want to offer something to their agents, I'm a service offering they can offer. We work with and we'll teach your agents how to use us. We'll do demos all day long. I'm starting to attend conferences. I have the REMAX broker owner conference next week in Austin, so I'll be there. But I'm also looking to go to state conferences, state level, starting in Iowa, because that's where I am. But that's my goal, is to start growing this. I think every seller deserves to have expert advice. They're paying a commission for a reason. So let's be the professional in the room. And if we are not the right person to stage, let's find somebody who is.
Well, I want to let everybody know that you do have a practicing team. You are an active realtor and you do have a team. So it's not like you're sitting on the sidelines. You know what the challenges are all the time. And you also are a woman in business and a woman in real estate. And you said gender to differentiate ourselves and succeed. And you said you're opinionated about that. Well, that doesn't surprise me one bit, Miss Nora. But as you know, we are equal opportunity everything. But tell us, I personally think you are correct in that, in general, because women make so many of the decisions about decorations and lifestyle, that is probably quite accurate.
I think so. And women also, we are in general besieged with so many competing demands on our time, more so than ever before. So the next service offering I would like to add to Stagery would be not only that we give you this consult, but we also find almost a concierge service. Okay, you're in Kansas City. I have somebody in Kansas City that, now that you have the report, will come and help you pre-pack. Will come and help you by picking up small accessories and putting them in your house, because the goal is to make this easier. So many women we have so much going on, and we do end up being the ones in charge of getting the house ready for sale.
Well, I would just tell you, yes, if that was happening here, I would be the only one able to do that. And so you're correct. And very often, because it's something that inspires you, doesn't inspire someone else. I work with a photographer, and you'd be surprised what inspires people that they will put on a wall that could possibly not inspire or even possibly offend someone else. So having a staging entity available to me is a win-win situation, because as it often is, it's a price war and a beauty contest. And
yes.
So it's really imperative that you do that. And then you also talk about startups. I mean, this was obviously a startup for you, and you had no real estate experience. Come on. Yeah, there's obviously, you're talented, but for somebody who was watching this, besides somebody who would be interested, whether they'd be a consumer needing staging services, or even if somebody who just wanted to freshen up their house, I mean, a staging service would work. I mean, we do that when we take photographs, we clean up a little bit. Why not with that with your home? Talk to us about a startup. I mean, how difficult was that for you?
Starting two different startups. Starting my real estate team, I read a few books, I went to training classes, and then I went really by my own instinct. What feels right? Who's the person I want to be for my clients? Having sold and bought homes before I became a realtor, on the consumer side of it, I kind of knew what I didn't want to be, but it's a local business. It's based on your personality. People come to you because they know you, they like you, or they know someone who does. This kind of a startup, I'm not there talking to every single customer every time. It's a transactional startup. It's extremely different. What I have found is networking is key. Having that network, so many cities have startup communities and startup ecosystems, and from looking in from the outside, it's hard to tap into those until you get, join at that Facebook group, or, hey, you should talk to so-and-so. You're following breadcrumbs all the time, and they may not lead to anything. Eventually, one of those breadcrumbs will pop. That's what I was doing with you. I was following a breadcrumb.
Yes,
so
that is absolutely true. But I'm fascinated by the fact that you saw a need, and it does help, obviously, that you have a software development background, because somebody like me would not be able to do that. But how to me, how magical, I use the word magical, it is that you can empower people who you don't know to make a living by what they do better, or as well as anyone else. Give them the opportunity to bid on it so it works with their flexibility, their timeline, their family life, their work balance, and still serve a client or a customer who's interested in buying and selling a house. I mean, to me, that is a triple gajillion win-win. And you did it all by yourself.
Connecting the need, right? There's a need. There is a supply of stagers. So my last client that ran through Stagerie, the stager was in Florida. The client was in Colfax, Iowa, which is an hour away from Des Moines. The agent lives 45 minutes away from the client, so nobody had to drive.
It was awesome. Well, tell us again, how do we get information about Stagerie?
So Stagerie is Stagerie.com. That's the easiest way. I have a blog out there. People can subscribe. You can schedule a demo with me via Zoom. And then there's in the menu a button up the top right that says start a Stagerie. They can start their project. We have a flat rate cost of $180 per house. Whether it's 10 bedrooms or 2 bedrooms is the same cost, whether it's already pretty close or not. We will help you. So that's the easiest way. I'm also available via email at nora@stagerie.com. And you can find me on Twitter, LinkedIn, all the places, all the social media. There's not another Nora Crosthwaite in the country, as far as I can tell.
Well, we're glad that there's at least one. I want to thank you for joining us for Women in Real Estate. I would encourage everybody to look at what you could do to improve the outcomes for your sales using a service that might just make the difference in a sale for your client or customer. I'm Terri Murphy for the Women's Wisdom Network. I want to thank you, Miss Nora, for joining us today. Go to Stagerie.com, see what this girl has done. She is amazing. And I hope you'll join us again soon.
Thank you.